And we are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicenda. I am Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP, which is a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard, and skincare alchemy in the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope and desire is to help amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways, but tonight we are sitting down to play The Between. We are part of a ongoing campaign that we have here, the first ongoing campaign we've done in partnership with Gauntlet Publishing. We've got an amazing crew here with us tonight, and I'm going to hand things over to Jason, though, to take us into The Between.
Thank you, Tony. So many interesting things happened last night, but something very, very interesting that happened last night in the last night phase we did not get to see because we did not get to see Rick Miller. And so we're going to talk about it first thing, Rick Miller. You mark the Darkened Threshold, which is one of your masks of the future. And just to remind viewers what the Darkened Threshold is, apart from my excellent podcast that I co-host with Alex Rabitsky, the Darkened Threshold is also on your Mask of the Future. Let's see here. It says, narrate a scene in which you hurt an innocent because of your curse. And I'd like to think this is what was happening when we didn't have you last time, Rick. You were out trying to keep control and you hurt somebody. Tell us all about it.
Perfect. Great. Fantastic. We last left Rick at the docks, at the gardens. And unfortunately, there was a long walk of shame with an alley of artists. And I think as they try to regain themselves, they are stopped by a very inspired painter who just insists they have to immortalize them in a portrait or sketch or character, anything, just the opportunity to sit and stare at this estranged gentleman. Unfortunately, he just isn't in the mood. And though the person just like practically is pleading nearly seconds from their hands and knees, Rick reaches out and grabs their wrist to just politely emphasize how much they do not want to be here and how much they need to find anybody, somebody, just someone else. And in that grip gets tighter and tighter. And not only do we hear the bones crunching, we see the entire risk of limp and disconnect from the arm.
All right, then. Don't go arm wrestling, Rick Miller. Just a little point of helpful information. Dr. Aspectum, you had sent the resurrectionists out to bring you back a body. One of the bodies, I believe, that was set to be buried secretly from Jenny Johnston's opium den. And you got a body part from that. You also marked your first Mask of the Past entry. So start narrating some stuff for us, Dr. Aspectum. Which body part are we talking about?
We're talking about, I think I had said
yeah.
the eyes last week, but there is actually something with the eyes that I want to hold on to for. So we are picked up, I believe Soft Jimmy's feet were retrieved from by my good friends, the Gravediggers, or at least two of them. Two of them. In other scenes, we've seen usually first off the reflection of a young Nicholas Aspectum in the eyes of this, in the monocle of Charles the Household's valet and manservant. This time as the camera spins around a room that's appointed in a way that lets us know this is about 20 years earlier, we can see that we are obviously looking through that monocle, that we are looking around the bedroom of a young boy, wooden blocks and toy soldiers toppled off to the side, a stack of books that are slightly too advanced. We can hear soft giggling, as well as even slightly more distant weeping and crying. We see Charles move around the room, looking in the toy box, looking in the large wardrobe, opening it, pulling things out. And then all of a sudden we shift the perspective underneath the bed. We see Charles's feet moving around the room from place to place. And all of a sudden the giggling becomes slightly more pronounced. We hear loud and frustrated while trying not to be sigh before Charles takes his cane and taps loudly 3 times on the ground. Young Master Aspectum, it's time to come out from under the bed. Your father has called for you. We see Nicholas almost immediately as those 3 wraps hit the ground, start to roll out and pull themselves up into a very kind of formal way of presenting themselves. The shy look across his face as he looks up into Charles' monocle. We see him reflected back, making him seem smaller than almost any other scene we've seen him in so far. He reaches out for Charles's hand, but Charles quickly turns away and leads him down the hallway to where his father and mother sleep. We see the shades of the house have been drawn. We see family members in the living room weeping. And we see Charles brought to the bedside of his father, obviously sick and wasting away. Some unknown disease, whether it's consumption or something else, is causing him to sweat. He's thin, he's gaunt. And it's obvious that the time that he has left on Earth is short. He looks up at Nicholas. It's not even clear whether or not he recognizes who he is. And he just draws him close and he says, "Help me." As life moves out of his eyes, his grip goes weak, and he dies in front of his son.
Thank you, Dr. Aspectum. Langfisk, please narrate a flashback to your young adulthood before you were a servant that shows your most significant professional triumph.
My dearest Flame, this evening past made me think of you again. They remind me of you in so many ways, but mostly your daring and knack for trouble. The splintering of glass and splash of claret, the intensity in his eyes reminded me of Gerald Deary. Bold plans, trickery, and mayhem, which led to a coup, £2 400 in our pockets. When I think of this time, though, it's not the money or thrill of getting away from the traps that linger. It's your voice carrying high, singing of Hall and Morgan. It's the nights lying in wait and hearing your breath carry life in and out. These sounds are in my ears every day. Lord Grey carries them, and when I see him, I see you. I remember Gerald Airy. I remember that score, and I will never forget it. With love and promise, your Longfish.
Thank you, Langfisk. It's the day phase. You currently have 2 active threats, the Limehouse Lurker and the Creature of Crumworn Gardens. The Limehouse Lurker we've had quite a lot of interesting encounters with. Importantly, last time we learned that the Lurker has some kind of influence over the children at the Limehouse School. They attacked Langfisk. That was a big problem. We also learned that there's a little bit of a weird, like, kind of cat and mouse thing going on between Dr. Aspectum and the Lurker as well. Dr. Aspectum has taken a particular interest in interacting with the Lurker, and last night the Lurker even played some tricks, we'll say, on Dr. Aspectum, which we didn't actually get to see what the trick was exactly. And I kind of like the idea of keeping it up in the air, to be honest. But it was bloody and weird, and it's interesting. We still don't know if this is actually an ancient vampire or just a reckless young vampire. But we need to figure that out at some point. You have 7 clues on that question, which is a complexity 4. We didn't make too much progress on the creature of Cremorne Gardens. I believe that Rick Miller tried to make progress, but got delayed slightly by Miss Abigail Simpson, where there appears to be some kind of history there. We don't know exactly what's going on, but it was there was something going on, I felt like. And yeah, the mastermind, Mrs. Brathwaite, has made herself more known to the group. Mrs. Brathwaite tried to, she showed a surprised interest in Mr. Miller. I don't think she intended to run into Mr. Miller because she was just at Cremorne Gardens setting up things for a celebration or overseeing the preparations. But there was a connection there, I felt like. But also, Mrs. Brathwaite tried to have Lord Grey kidnapped. So, kidnapped and taken on a date was the plan. Langfisk and Lord Grey sort of turned the tables on that a little bit. But Mrs. Brathwaite did get her date with Lord Grey, if I remember correctly, and Langfisk got to pay back the people who laid hands on Lord Grey. So Mrs. Brathwaite, our sort of conspiracy, which is strictly out of character knowledge, but we have 4 mastermind clues on the conspiracy track right now. Because we don't have 3 active threats, I'm going to introduce a brand new threat here in a moment. If you haven't done so already, you can adjust your Dawn questions if you'd like to change your role-playing focus for this session. But our new threat is called the Waitley Camera. The Hargrave House Library contains research on the so-called Waitley camera, one of the first wet plate type cameras ever produced. People who are photographed by the camera have been known to disappear without a trace. An American scientist and philosopher, Atticus Waitley, studied the camera for a number of years and proposed that it was some sort of entity, a demon or a god, and that the people who went missing had been transported to this other dimension. Waitley advanced an idea called the Fragrant Void, a sort of proto-Earth that existed in near total darkness and that was home to powerful entities who were banished by God on the first day of creation. He believed some of those entities still operate in the world, hidden from view, perhaps through common objects, perhaps objects like this camera. While his research couldn't prove the existence of the Fragrant Void, he did manage to show how the camera caused people to be whisked away to another dimension. Unfortunately, before he could present his work for review, he was killed, his notes were destroyed, and the camera went missing. That's the backstory of the Waitley camera. 1 week ago, a beautiful actress, Miss Penelope Levy, disappeared. She was last seen at the Society Obscura, an exclusive and secretive club for wealthy photography enthusiasts, located in a converted townhouse in Kensington. A missing actress wouldn't merit much attention from Hargrave House, if not for the fact her lover, Bert Broadswell, sent the hunters one of the pictures taken of her at the Society Obscura. Do any of you have the Cosmic Passage marked? Who does?
Knox.
I have the Cosmic Passage marked also.
You have the Cosmic Passage marked. Okay, man of science. Something unusual about the photo unmistakably confirms it was taken with the Waitley camera. What is it?
The The silver that is of any picture that's taken with the Whately camera um, tarnishes in a way that silver shouldn't, and creates this kind of variegated green effect that flows across the entire thing, specifically and oddly oftentimes centering around the individual who later disappears.
Fantastic. Thank you. You have a single question here. What circumstances will cause someone photographed by the camera to disappear? It's a complexity 8, your toughest question so far in the game, and it unlocks 2 opportunities, either or both of which can be pursued. The first is you can resolve the threat by reversing the process and bringing Penelope Levy back to this world. You can also use the camera to transport yourself to the fragrant void and make contact with the entity there. Doing so gives you access to a new move called Void Walker. There is not an aspect of the Janus Mask available for this threat, but you do still have an aspect of the Janus Mask available for, looks like I think you have both still. You have both the Mask of the Sun on the Limehouse Lurker and the Mask of Revelry for the Creature of Cremorne Gardens. So don't forget to use those before those threats are over. Let's go around the table and find out what everyone's interested in doing today. I see that you're all loaded up in conditions, everybody but Langfisk anyway. You've got 3 mysteries brewing, 3 threats threatening. Lord Grey, what's your thoughts for today?
Well, you did say it was an exclusive club for photographers, and that sounds like a place for
Kind of your jam, right?
Oh man, I'm so there. Like just instantly raising my hand. Like I've been preparing for this for my entire life. I probably need to do a vulnerable scene with someone, so I'm totally down with that with anyone. But just know that's where he is headed.
Rick Miller, what's your thought for today?
It would be nice to have a not negative interaction with Lord Grey, so maybe we both go to the photography, just to make amends, make sure we're okay.
Sounds good. I like the
so
idea.
in.
Maybe you want to have the scene on the way. That would be great. Taking a look at your vices, if you want to try to get the vulnerable move triggered, we've got opium, which might be awkward in the cab, and we've got cocaine, which might be less awkward in the cab.
I have cocaine cigarettes. We can make it work.
See, there we go. We're so innovative and creative.
Decide who's doing narcotic substances, and we'll figure out what that scene looks like. Dr. Spectum, what do you want to do?
I mean, there's a big part of me that wants to do a vulnerable move, so that I don't burn through a million masks today. But man, I really love these conditions also too. I think I'd love to. There's one I would love to get rid of, probably, both diegetically and as a player. Is it for vulnerable moves? Is it usually one hunter to another hunter? Is that correct?
It's 1-on-1, and one of you is doing your vice. Yep.
Cool. I mean, Langfist did offer to take me to a cool coffee shop the last time we went out. Which I do have to ask. Langfist, you want to do a vulnerable scene with me?
Absolutely, mate. I'll bring you to a premier coffee shop in the city.
Fantastic. Let's go ahead and frame up these scenes. Lord Grey and Mr. Miller, I think your scene, if it's okay, I think in the hansom cab on the way to the Society Obscura, little 2-person carriage essentially. So it's a tight, little space, but there's a little bit of privacy. The driver sort of sits like in a bench, and there's like a bit of a wall barrier there, so you do have a little bit of privacy from him. And so don't feel guarded about your conversation. Once the move is triggered, in order to clear the conditions, you just have to role play in a way that you would reasonably be able to say this condition no longer affects me negatively, and then you each get to clear one. And then who's it going to be? Opium or cocaine? What's our pleasure today?
I've got cocaine cigarettes, and I will offer Mr. Miller one. So,
And he will be polite and indulge.
Very good. So, Lord Grey, you will have the option as well to invite Mr. Miller to ask you a question about the past, or you can stumble on a clue. So, be thinking about that as well. Um, I think it's a lovely day in London. The sun is high in the sky. You're headed to a nice part of the city for once. Hargrave House's work usually takes you to bad parts of the city, so that's great. And yeah, let's just do it. Let's just role play. Role play.
I think the first thing that happens when they get in the hansom cab is that Lord Grey pulls out this little golden case, gets out a cigarette, and offers you one without specifying what it is. You probably know what it is, though.
Yeah, we got the hint at this point. Just like takes it with index and a thumb and then twiddles it between the proper fingers. He's very slow to speak, but at the end of his silence, he just, well, in this eye roll, I owe you an apology.
Oh,
Right.
do you?
Don't be
Please
so.
continue.
Thank you. I was not the most polite guest in your quarters, and I don't fucking know I was rude. Forgive me. The end.
You know what? That's sufficient. I'll take it. You are forgiven, Mr. Miller. You're charming anyway. It'd be too much work to hold a grudge.
I
Besides,
can
I know
feel my
you.
soul being absolved.
You're welcome. I'm so glad that we got this taken care of. I know you frequent some very interesting places anyway, places I actually like, unlike most of our compatriots. You know, Cremorne Gardens, this lovely studio. Thank God, finally. How was that, by the way?
The gardens. I mean, I used to work there. It was the gardens. It's green. It had benches. Fantastic invention, by the way.
Oh, yes.
So,
Did you not have those in America? Was this new? Uh
this face flattens like you dumb bitch. No. Just lets it slide, but it is very much on his face.
Lord Grey does not give two shits. He's like just this same little fucking knife cat, like doesn't care. But
but no, it is what it was. Nothing too exciting. How about you? What have you been up to?
well, I actually had the pleasure of going there last night. I don't think I saw you, but I was invited by this lovely woman, Theodora.
You mentioned that sapphire, and there's no mistaking
Yes.
who
Yes.
Lord Grey
Yes.
is talking about.
she's and he just actually does describe her like
Mhm.
mostly her outfit and that she's beautiful, but like to the detail, like you can tell this is what he gave a shit about was the outfit. No, we she invited me to this quaint little dance. It was really nice actually.
He's just kind of studying Gray's face, trying to pick out like, is this actual infatuation or is he planning to rob her with the description of her outfit? Yes, actually we got acquainted in the
Oh.
gardens. What a coincidence.
Yeah, she's and he looks, even though he doesn't really consider the person driving the cab people, but he does he does look over. She's an interesting woman. We might have to compare notes on her sometime, maybe back at the house.
I mean, we have the rest of unless you are concerned with ears.
Just a little.
Then notes at Hargrave it is.
let's check in on the conditions. What do we think we've cleared? Who wants to make a case for which conditions they're getting rid of?
I could argue perturbed just
I
because,
could buy
like, we
that.
had a
Yeah.
chill
Chill moment.
conversation.
Yeah. I'm into that. What do you think, Rick?
I don't know. I mean, maybe the hidden moon for being human for this long.
Yeah, I can maybe see that. I think you can make a stronger case for history with Abigail Simpson, if only because,
Denying it.
yeah, and also because like Theodora
skip
became the focus of your day at Grimoire
Okay,
Gardens
yeah.
and not Abigail.
I mean, Vyn,
so-
it's almost like you don't want to be rolling with double disadvantage every
Maybe that'd be so
every night.
crazy.
That was very.
Regular
I will
disadvantage.
fess up to that being one of the cruelest things I've ever done in the between. And I'm absolutely not trying to dissuade you from clearing it, but I do think that Abigail.
No,
Simpson
I'll
one
definitely
makes
take
more
that
sense.
I am honored to have your cruelty.
Indeed, yes, I dole it out so infrequently. Lord Grey, you get to either invite Rick Miller to pose a question to you, or to ask you about your past, or to stumble on a clue. What do you want?
Oh, I love me a clue.
Okay.
I love me a clue.
You and Ben can come up with it together, and then we'll share it with us when you're actually, maybe even the chat would help. Chat, would you like to help with the clue?
Give us
What
suggestions.
What do Lord Grey and Mr. Miller see as they are being driven down the streets of Kensington? Meanwhile, Langfisk, frame it up for us. What's going on?
Yeah, I think Langfisk takes a quiet, doesn't even take a cab, but grabs like one of the carts from Hargrave House and drives, knocks there. Langfisk wearing a hunting jacket and other assortment of like just like khaki normalcy. There's nothing fine about it. It's all functional, rough and tumble wear that's made to look like it blends in with peerage society. And just goes, now, this is a very special type of coffee shop, mate. All right.
I'm thrilled that just what did you say last time, that a couple of cunts like us could go out and just enjoy a fine, like I'm enthralled to find out what exactly you have in store for us. It is like the camera pans out a little bit, like you see that Dr. Spectrum it's overdressed for the situation, certainly. Overdressed in the sense that it's very obvious that Dr. Spectrum is wearing far more layers than he should be, also explicitly.
I think we can see them moving through the streets, and you keep passing by coffee shops, and I think we see Knox going right here, and Langfisk just
I'm every specialty, what they've got on tap right now, like what they're brewing, it gets named as we go along.
As we make our way towards the docks and park right outside of this old warehouse, and Langfisk hops down, sets the reins down, nods. This is our place right here. Goes ahead and gives a nice little 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1 knock. And you see a slide open, eyes. Langfisk just nods, slides close, and then it opens. And you see this big gruff guy says, "Oi, Langfisk." As Langfisk walks on in, readily just not even waiting for Knox.
I am more jittery than you have ever seen me. Like I am so thrilled for what we're about to embark on, this culinary experience. And you hear like just muttering under my breath with speculation and such a fancy and out of the way location. I can't even I've never been somewhere where you have to do a secret knock to get in.
Dark hallway, barely even lit, then leads as you can hear the droning of noise coming as stepping through a ratty velvet curtain, a wide open room that on the far wall you can see blackboards all over the place where there are different bets happening for sports events and other random seamless events, as well as like reportings on how many people have been reported murdered that day. There are like dead pools that are being placed over there, or tontines, whatever you prefer. You can see there's also shoddy roulette tables. There are card tables. You can see there are a handful of people playing CeeLo over in a corner. It's a dice game. If you don't know about it, ask your parents
Not
about it.
the music. They're not
Not
peering through
CeeLo.
time.
But then as well as in the very center, a fighting pit where you can see that there are people fighting with each other and there are bets happening. And Langfisk turns and looks at Knox and goes, all right, so you're going to want to have to go place bets over with that surly-looking gentleman over there, mate. They've got drinks, everything. I'm pretty sure they have coffee here. I've never had it before, though. Everything like that. Anything that you could possibly want. They have excellent, fantastic ginger drink here for you as well, if you're a tea kind of person, mate. And as well, whatever your game is, okay? Also, please, if you see a man by the name of Squints, don't, I beg of you, please do not make a bet with him because he will take you for everything that you are holding and more, all right? Understood?
Avoid the squinting man, yes.
You're going to lead me. You're going to be my guide, all right? You're going to be my compass for this. So I'm just going to follow you, see what you're feeling, and I'm just going to play after you. And you just, a couple of mates, just kind of out for a cheeky bev and some betting.
While you're explaining all this, you are also like slowly, whether, every time we like flashback, Dr. Aspectum is taking off another article of clothing, like working down to a normal level of dress. And you've seen him like hang a couple of things up on the coat rack. He's put something on the back of the chair, like nearby. And he does exactly like you say, starts walking around the room. But you also notice like different coats are being left behind in different locations. There's a few different articles of like a couple scarves are draped in different places. These are all things like, to be kind of signature pieces of wear that he has on also too. But yeah, he looks for like the most wide-eyed person in the house. So hopefully Squints is not an ironic name. And so he looks for the person whose like eyes look wide like saucers, who seems to be observing it. Big, thick-rimmed glasses. And I would love to place a bet and get your finest brew as well.
I love it. So Dr. Spectum, is the coffee brewing with 4 drips at a time instead of 3? What's going on here? What condition are you clearing?
I like, if they have coffee, I would anticipate that that it is probably just something that is like cooked on an open pot and then has a little bit of cold water tossed in the top to get the grounds like to settle down. It is probably not, and it's probably like it's an old dusty tin. Here's the deal. I don't see it get made, so I don't know any of that. And it is just there's a dry note. It's an almost archaeological experience. The depth of, well, I wouldn't call it depth, but the historicity of these beans is really impressive. I wonder what they did to age them as we just flash back to the oldest, rustiest tin of coffee in the kitchen. I don't know that I've ever read anything quite right. In this reddish color, that's something that I don't recall ever having anything like this.
So which condition are you trying to clear?
I am trying to get rid of person of interest. I'm just seeding my fucking clothing all over this place, in order to just throw this off. And like, it's very obvious that there is a few bloody articles of clothing scattered around the room.
Langfisk, do you want to make a case for puncture wounds and bruises, or?
Yeah, I think we see on like nearby, but also just keeping an eye on Knox. We can see Langfisk like winces a little bit and then opens up his shirt discreetly and pulls off some bloody bandages, checking and seeing a wound that's been sewed up, and there's like some bruising that's starting to fade a little bit, and puts that on with one of the scars. Puts like the bandages on one of the scars, does a couple of twists, cracks the neck, and then starts feeling a little bit better.
I like it. Which of the two options do you want for vulnerable move?
I think we see like there's Langfist keeping an eye on Nox and kind of betting around, and if Nox is having a bit of a downturn, then betting opposite of Nox to kind of bring it back towards Nox, trying to manipulate luck. And at one moment, Langfisk is telling a story to Nox about a man with 4 legs. It turns out it was actually a dog. This whole thing is like this whole story, and then stops at one moment as somebody slips a piece of paper in Langfisk's hand. Langfisk quickly times with taking a sip of some tea, checks it, nods, and then puts the paper in his mouth and just sips the tea again. And that will be a clue that the chat can make. If you want to put it towards Cremorne Gardens, then go ahead if you want to. But, we can make it fit wherever.
All right. So, chat, you have the setup for a clue. Give us the clue. Lord Grey, Rick Miller, well, really B and Vyn. Have you thought of a clue, or do you want to use? I think we have one submission from chat right now. It's a pretty good one.
Gosh, chat, do more of our work for us.
I know.
Honestly, wow, what do we pay you
I'm gonna do
for?
this even more. I'm like, chat, what do you think the clue should be on this next information move? The chat clue was that at this place where you go, the Society Obscura, everything is symmetrical, which I thought was pretty cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
That was from
Yeah.
Retrofitter, I think.
Thank
That
you.
was a
Yeah,
really good
that's
clue.
delicious.
Yeah. So we'll go with that. You'll know. I think. Well, let's paint the scene about it though. So let's make it real here, everyone. As Lord Grey and Rick Miller pull up to the Society Obscura building, which is like a big townhouse, what do we see even on the outside of the building and in the front garden that shows this symmetry in the space?
I think that there are like these identical frescoes outside of these 2 women looking at each other and like exact mirror images.
We see 2 distinctive iron gates that lead kind of into 2 curving pathways that go inside.
We see a frenzied gardener running between the rose bushes to make sure they have the exact same placement of roses on each side.
We see 2 chimneys on either side on the top, but one is busted. It seems like nobody's noticed it just yet.
Very good. So the Society Obscura, they have a large sort of plaque on the building indicating that's what this place is. So it's quasi-public. You can probably just walk up and knock on the door. What do you both do?
I mean, I don't know what Rick's plan is, but Bastion just walks in places like he owns them. So
Lord Grey's walking right in. We love that.
So-
Rick Miller,
Yeah,
what do you
I
do?
think it's like a meaty fist like going to knock and then Bastion is like, so it's just a swung.
Good. I love it. Yeah, that's great. I think when you stumble in, Lord Grey, you see a young man, probably in his early 20s, quite small, quite lithe, and dressed in, I would say it's like a kind of how to describe it, like a Prince Ali, Fabulous He, kind of, Aladdin kind of situation, right? Tale of the Arabian Nights kind of situation. The little kind of, like puffy pants, curled-toed shoes, a vest. He's clearly checking himself out in a mirror when you storm in, Lord Grey, and he kind of stops and he turns and he says, "Oh, hello. Sorry, I didn't hear you knock."
we didn't.
Ah, I see. Are you here to have your photograph taken? By the look of you, you seem like you're always photograph ready.
How sweet. But he does look to Rick to see what the plan is, because as per usual, he just showed up.
He looks over your
Um,
shoulder, Lord Grey, at Rick and says, "Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to have the old American West room ready to go. Very sorry about that. I can get it together very, very quickly though."
Ha 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 ha. This is just how I dress.
Oh, you actually are American.
Yeah, I get
very
that a lot.
American.
Thank you,
Right.
Gray. That I really appreciate the
Oh, yeah.
commentary.
My name is Periwinkle Underwood. I'm It seems like maybe you're not here to have a session. Is that a correct assumption?
Correct. And he's like, he keeps like making sure like Rick is on the same page because like this is once again he was not playing. We came to you know, take in the place, look around, see if the photographers were here, you know.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Abernathy and their guests are currently in the Olympus room. Really, really tremendous tableau they have set up right now. I have to go change for it, actually. Um, but if you want to just wait right here, I will go let them know you're here. It
Oh,
was
that'll be perfect. Thank you.
Mr. and well, I didn't catch the names then.
Miller.
Miller,
Gray.
thank you. Gray. Very well. Good. All right. And he darts off to what presumably is the Olympus room.
Mhm.
What do the two of you do?
Oh, what the hell are you doing?
Look, I'm giving us an excuse to look around and to get people out of our hair while we do. What are you
You know,
doing?
you could have just took the picture and I could have investigated.
With a cursed camera? No, thank you.
Oh, so you want to be in place of the cursed camera?
I don't want to get my picture taken with a cursed camera, thank you. You can in the Old West room. But seriously, don't do that. That's a joke. Don't. If you would
I'm
like
just
me
gonna
to
let you sit with that.
distract him. If
I
you would
mean,
like
I
me.
think that's your wiles. That's what you do, right? Or do I have that wrong? Do you have brain cells in there that are functioning?
You're so charming, Mr. Miller.
Absolutely, I'm just the best, ain't I?
You are just the best. And he does kind of like get a little close to your face with his hand, but he does not actually touch you. And
Yeah, that doesn't do anything for
no,
him.
and no, and he knows it doesn't do anything to you, but he just sort of makes a point to never. And it's like, all right, fine. I will follow this little man, and you can do what you like. I'll make an
Yeah,
excuse for you.
periwinkle. That's it.
Periwinkle.
What's a
That's-
periwinkle?
Don't worry about it. It's
So it sounds like Lord Grey, you're going to follow Periwinkle, and Rick, you're just going to take a look around.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Let's check in with Langfisk and Dr. Spectre really quickly. What clue did chat come up with?
There's a really great doubling clue there. The paper was a sketch of the creature. Its eyes seem to follow you no matter what. By Chaotic, and then Retrofitter says, I think the Vectotum says they consumed it while they drank their coffee, which was tea. They didn't have any rusty coffee. What if the Factotum consumes the information on the paper and the clue is visualized in their mind rather than seen?
Well, what do we think? You're entitled to have whatever clue you want.
I think we're going to go with I'm going to combine a couple and say it was a sketch of three people knee deep in the Thames holding hands in a circle.
Oh, okay. Like that. That definitely could apply to Cremorne Gardens because we know that this alleged creature allegedly hypnotizes people and has them wander into the water. So that's good. Fantastic. I want to just figure out where the two of you are going to be in time and space, and I'm going to cut back over to Lord Grey and Rick. Langfist, what's your plan next? So many options.
That American fella's with the Lord, and so hopefully he can not be a nuisance, but no promises on that one. So I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to Yeah, let's go ahead and take a little walk around Cremorne Gardens. Let's see
We haven't
what's so
really seen
special
much of
about
it
it.
yet
Yeah.
because Rick got distracted, doubly distracted. Dr. Spectrum, what's your plan?
It really all hinges on an important thing. After the downpour of blood,
Hmm.
was there a body left on the premises?
Okay, so that's if I remember correctly, you Janice maxed out of that happening, right? On the
No.
that was the wait, which bot are we talking about? The
Sorry.
one
We never identified what it was. There was
oh,
a
the thing
down.
dripping blood. Yeah, we never saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't. Is the question is after that because that happened. There was no Janice
No,
masking out.
I'm keeping that. I'm saying that when you go investigate later, you can't see what it was.
That's fine. That's great. That's
Yeah.
all I needed to know
Yeah.
in order to say that I will go with Langfisk. Obviously. I mean, there's a great history of fishmen across cultures, so there's probably something to this, but it's probably just a weird breed of fish. So I'm happy to come lend my scientific acumen to disproving this poppycock.
Indeed, indeed, it could be a hoax. That is an option, right? Before we head back to the Society Obscura, I'll remind you of your sort of leads here. We have the dancing platform, the American Bowling Saloon, the banquet hall. There's the promenade, the hedge maze. There is the little Art Street chain walk that's nearby. Also, this time you see a purple silk tent for an attraction. The sign outside says Greco, the second sighted boy, as another option. So be thinking about where you want to go. Lord Grey, the Olympus room. Periwinkle, you turn the corner to follow him and you don't even see him anymore. It's like he's managed to dart out of sight somehow. But you do see the Olympus room. The Olympus room is a place that so the house has like a number of like they're essentially rooms that are like always ready to go to take pictures of a certain theme, right? And so this one, um, this is used for artistic photography. It's decorated to look like a scene from Greek myth. Now, what I need to know, there's a paint the scene question, but it only triggers if either you or Mr. Miller have the cosmic passage marked. I don't think you do. So it does not trigger. We don't ask it. So when you walk in, you see, you see like basically, it looks like the whole household is here. You see probably about half a dozen people. They are dressed in they're dressed like gods. They're wearing togas and tunic type things and flowing gowns and gold olive leaf crowns, and they have big plaster of Paris statuary of minotaurs and things like that. It's this whole thing, and the backdrop is painted with painted to look like the Parthenon or something, right? It's very celestial, it's very mythic, and you don't know where Periwinkle went, but they all turn, and you kind of walk into the middle of. It looks like they're kind of in between shoots. Uh, there's a thick smell of cigarette smoke and sweat. They all appear to be sort of just casually enjoying each other's bodies in between photo sessions.
This is my kind of scene.
Sounds like your scene, yeah. What do you do? A few of them do turn to notice you, and I think one woman who is clearly like dressed to be like Aphrodite because she's covered in seashells and things like that, right? She sort of beckons you to join very dramatically.
Okay, are their costumes good? Like, is this
They are
like
pretty good, yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
that is so important to me.
Mhm.
I think I do I do watch them over there and I do scan the room to see if there's a photographer out of the shot, like see if there's someone taking the pictures because I don't really want to step into the frame?
There is a camera, but it's not currently being operated. And
Sick.
we don't know for sure if it's the Whately camera. It's just a
Yeah.
camera.
Oh yeah, he just doesn't
Um,
know which one that is. And oh,
yeah, but there's nobody currently behind it, like setting it up. It looks like they're
okay.
in the middle of a shoot.
Oh,
Yeah,
fabulous. Okay. But I will go
or
over
they're
to
in
the
between taking pictures.
yes.
Yeah.
I'll go over to the Aphrodite woman and just casually, like I've known all of these people forever, just start talking to them and asking them how they're doing. And
Mm.
just it's and I'm debating. You can see what Mr. Miller's doing before I decide what I do next
Okay, you
here.
think about what you're doing, Mr. Miller. You've kind of got the run of the place here. They left you to your own devices. All of the rooms have little placards stating what type of room there are. There is the American West room. There's the Maharaja's Palace room. There's the Jungle room. There's something called the Astral Plane room, and a few other things as well. There's a number of little things. If you think of something, I'm into it. Where do you go?
Miller's just snooping. I think he pointedly takes like the Wild West room last and the astral plane second to last, given the vision he had in the reflection at the docks, but
Mm-hmm.
just giving full scope, peeling through things, not really caring how they get rearranged back, maybe like tossed over the shoulder, just being real careless about the
This is
set
like just in the
design.
main sort of entryway, or do you go into one of the rooms?
Oh, just going through the rooms, just
Hmm. Why don't we start? I'm going to go in the order of my list then and say that it's the jungle room. This is a room in the townhouse used for artistic photography, decorated to look like an overgrown jungle. Let's paint the scene, everyone. Are the decorations in this room surprisingly lifelike or hopelessly gaudy? And why?
there is this badly taxidermied jaguar. It looks like a table, face flat, eyes bulging from the sides, and like just too frightening to be real.
I think the fake plants are obviously painted and they're in like really unnatural colors. It is this just gaudy, awful shade of blue green that doesn't really look right. It might not show up on camera, but in person, it is just. Oh,
Oh, Tony, we can't hear you if you're talking.
I'm
Oh,
not.
you look like you
I was
were.
waiting for
Okay.
Wes to go.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Wes has given
Uh,
me the space multiple times over the last couple of weeks to make sure we weren't deep in mind thing, but I think we're good now.
Okay, good. There is at first glance, seems like a statue or like a taxidermied person or like, that's dressed to mingle in with the environment and everything. And then you realize at one point, oh no, it's actually a manservant whose body's been painted. And the eyes open and they're just painted on eyes on the eyelids.
I think in the middle of all this, there is a like a fire pit that has an old stone dagger in it. That in contrast to a lot of the gaudiness of the rest of the space, looks shockingly real and sinister, and has a red edge on one side of it.
Oh, interesting. Well, so Rick Miller, I'll give you the information move, probably with reason, I would say. Um, yeah, let's see how it goes.
Oh boy, big money, no whammies.
Hmm.
Oh, that's an 8.
Okay, so I owe you a clue and a complication. We'll come back to that in a moment. Lord Gray, do you want to give me your follow up here? What was your?
oh yes, I was just debating about moves and how terrible I wanted to be. I get close to the Aphrodite woman and
Mhm.
this is a beautiful place, darling. Could you tell me where the photographer's gone? You're all so gorgeous, but shouldn't you be being photographed right now?
This woman She has her hair braided to look like a crown, and it's woven in with seashells. And she's like middle-aged, but but lovely. And she says, "The photographer has taken the rest of the day off.
Oh.
You can't expect us all to work all day. We've been so busy as it is, acting as a muse for the all-seeing eye, as it were."
Oh, I'm sure you're all exhausted. It is such a bore to pose for pictures. I'm sure it's faster with a
Are
camera.
you an enthusiast of photography, Mr.
Gray, Lord Gray.
Lord Grey? Well, I am Portia Abernathy. My husband Cyrus and I are the founders of the Society Obscura.
Oh, well then fascinating. I'm sure you could tell me all about this. I am looking
You-
to get into photography.
I think, and she says, "You have a sort of classic beauty, Lord Grey, the kind that lends itself to portraiture, to paintings. I am afraid that our little art form here may not do your beauty proper justice. That said, the camera does have its benefits, its intricacies, its idiosyncrasies. The camera, you see, it first sees us, and then it reveals us. Many people don't like what they see in the image because they know it is the truth. One cannot hide from the lens, no matter how hard one tries. That is the beauty of the camera. It is truth. A brief, intense glimpse of it. I wonder what sort of truth would be revealed in you, Lord Grey.
And I think we see his jaw set in a way we haven't really seen before. And it is a tension that doesn't really work on his face. And what if I was interested in getting behind the camera instead and seeing the truth in other people?
And she gets a little closer and she says, and I think her husband also walks up and he gets kind of close too. And she says, "You don't need anything between us to learn the truth about me, Lord Grey."
Is that so? Then I would love to spend the afternoon with you and get to know what you and your husband
they're
have
totally
founded
giving,
here.
"We saw you across the bar."
Yes.
energy right
Oh,
now.
absolutely.
Yeah.
This is 100%. And I think he is like, regardless of the other people here, I think he like is gonna try to get them into a different room
Mm,
away from this and get more information out of them.
intriguing. Let me check in on Langfisk and
Yes.
Dr. Spectum. So Langfisk, you're at, as much as I'm enjoying that scene, you're at Crumorn Gardens, the both of you. Dr. Spectum, where do you head first? What's the plan? I think when you arrive there, middle of the day, things are in fine fiddle. Today they actually have tightrope walkers in one section of the park, and you actually know this because you hear this like as the tightrope walker like nearly falls but manages to catch their their balance, and then there's like a wave of relief. Yeah, everyone's out, everyone's having a good time. What do you do?
I look over at Langfisk and where is the body at this one again? Who died here?
No one died.
I know that.
Just to make sure we're clear on that. Sorry, I interrupted your role play.
Mate, there's been sightings. There hasn't been a body yet.
Ooh, I suppose that's fine. Um,
You do know other sciences other than human anatomy and physiology, correct?
yes, but the most interesting matters lie within ourselves. I mean, there are other types of science that are fascinating. I'm sure there's some interesting specimens here in one of these halls or places. What's amiss here again?
There's sightings of a fish creature near the Thames that's been wandering around the garden.
Fish creature. Can you imagine? Near the Thames, you say?
I don't look. I don't have to imagine much there, mate. I mean, there's already been people that are imagining it or seeing it. It's just up for us to look into it. How about this? How about you go check by the water or something like that, and maybe grab you some more coffee from the banqueting hall, mate? And I'll go and seize the purple tent. I'll go assess a professional on the grounds and see if they've seen anything interesting.
Capital idea. I'll take a look. Let you know what I find out.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Well, so the banqueting hall is, it's not like in full, there's people kind of like at small isolated tables having a meal, but it's not really done up for a full banquet right now because it's early in the day. But there are some waiters in well-tailored black livery. They're laying out dazzlingly white tablecloths, and you see stacks of fine crystal goblets next to enormous casks of wine. Let's paint the scene, but it's just for Dr. Spectrum on this one. Dr. Spectrum, you smell something savory and unctuous as you step inside. What is it?
Savory and unctuous.
Unctuous.
There is some fresh meat pies that are cooling nearby.
Mm-hmm. So what do you do?
I'm gonna move over and help myself to some wine once I realize there's no coffee nearby. Take a look at those pies.
There's a man there, big, like, kind of like broad-chested man. He's wearing an apron with a pig on it, little pig stamp, and he's like, "Hello, hello, come get a fig's pig."
They smell delicious.
"They are delicious, friend. They are delicious." And he kind of sets it down for you. He says, "I'm not working out of the shop today. I was brought over to sell my wares here, though the traffic is not quite what I was led to believe it would be."
Are they fresh?
"Oh, yes, yes. If you so fresh, you might actually hear them squeal when you put your fork in."
That's how I like them. How did you do it?
"Do what, sir?"
Oh, how did you dissect the pig? How did you tell me about the cuts that went into it?
"Oh, a process man, eh?" And he kind of like gives you like a funny look, and he's actually weirdly nervous about your question. And he says, "Ah, yeah, awfully sorry. Will you excuse me for a moment?" And he like turns and leaves. But the pie is delicious.
So is the second one. I can't wait to find out what I ate later on.
All that said, though, none of them are fish, as best you can tell. So what do you do for figuring out this Crumworn Garden situation?
As I kind of make my way around the dining hall, chomping on this pie, I brazenly just going to ask people, have you heard about the fish man with the
Oh
mouthful
yeah, good.
of
That's great. I love it. Yeah,
pork? I hope.
indeed. Go ahead and make the information move. I'm gonna say with presence, probably. Yeah.
That's an 11.
Nice. All right. 11. So I owe you a clue. Langfisk. Greco, the second-sighted boy. When you step inside the purple silk tent, it's quite dark. There are just a few candles lit on a little table. The table is embroidered with stars and moons and other symbols. And you see said second-sighted boy sitting at the table, just barely illuminated by the candlelight. He's wearing, sort of mystical face paint, strange symbols and curlicues. He has a jewel in the middle of his forehead representing his third eye. And as soon as you step in, he says, "Welcome, Mr. Langfisk."
All right, we're already starting off there, mate. You know my name before I've even said I'm on now. Second-sighted. All right. Shit.
"Please, have a seat."
I could just stand. Oh, all right, I'll sit. Okay.
He kind of like, as he talks to you, he definitely looks sort of past you. He never makes direct eye contact. And he says, "If you must know, those men are never going to recover."
So, not coming here to talk about recovering men or anything. I had other questions, actually, but it's a good way to open up conversation.
"Well, perhaps I missed it, but I detected just the faintest hint of regret for your actions. Do I have it wrong?"
I do my job. I do the job that has been assigned to me, and I do it well. And sometimes I do it without it even being asked because I know that it's coming. Just like you have your job as well. Spooky fucker.
"They suffer greatly, Mr. Langfisk. They scream out their hatred. It rolls out of them in waves, and I can feel it even from here."
Well, that should be a lesson to the employer for never sending them to put their hands on someone above the station now, is it?
"Be wary of that one." "The pirate queen of Barbuda takes no prisoners. It is well known."
She and I have a bit in common there, eh? Then
"Yes, but the difference is she has a vast fortune behind her, a keen intellect, no offense, and fingers in every pie. Speaking of pies, don't let your friend eat another one."
the doctor, he's afraid it's going to go straight to his hips.
And he just smiles. "How can I help you, Mr. Langfisk?"
Well, you've right and properly got me in the mood to ask some weird questions. So here I am, Greco, second-sighted boy, Mr. Boy, whatever you prefer your name to be called. So, have you seen this so-called fish creature, whether it's through your first or your second sight?
Make the information move with sensitivity and, yeah, sensitivity. We can't hear you, Langfisk, if you're talking.
I know, yeah. I think I'm going to use the doll with a red ribbon around the neck and hold on to it as almost like a totem to kind of keep this second-sighted boy focused on the line of questioning and not purging into my conscious anymore.
I love it. Roll with advantage.
I will, in fact, take a 9.
Ah, very good. I owe you a clue and a complication. I want to check in briefly with Rick and Lord Grey, and then we'll take our first break. Rick, I owe you a clue. You're looking around this jungle room. Let's see what you find. As you're looking around, you see something that definitely does not fit this particular scene. And so its presence stands out for that reason. It's a script for a play you've never heard of, though I'm not sure how into the theater Mr. Miller is. But in any case, it's a play called The Ecstasies of the Pythia. If someone wants to note that down.
Yeah, because I can't spell Pythia. I'm sorry, y'all.
The Ecstasies of the Pythia. And while you're maybe going through it, I'm curious, do you read any of the play, or do you just note the title and move on?
I mean, we're investigating a missing actress. That's enough, like, of a clue for him to just pocket the script or proof that she
Love
might. Is there like a cast list or like any notation of who's playing what within the script?
You can take a look at it later. I think you hear someone coming into the room. Oh, there you are, Mr. Miller. And you turn and you see Periwinkle Underwood, except he's no longer in his Tales of the Arabian Nights outfit. He's now dressed as if he was at the Olympus shoot. He is wearing a really, really short toga, and he has silver paint on his body and he's wearing little shoes with like wings on the heels. And he says, I was come to get you, or I'm sorry. How are you finding the Society Obscura?
I mean, I'm having an interested time just examining the scenery. Do I make you nervous? Lilac, was it?
Periwinkle? No. I'm just, I think it's the fumes from this body paint.
I mean, how long are you keeping that on? Do you need somebody to help you take
Hopefully
it off?
for not very long. I came to get you. Your companion, Lord Grey. He's having a private audience with Mr. and Mrs. Abernathy, but the other members of the society, they were delighted to hear that we have an American here in the building.
You know, Perry, I know you just came to get me. Maybe I should just help you. And you are looking very peaked. And I'm not talking about the silver.
Can I touch your gun?
Which one?
Oh, the one on your hip there.
I mean, we can make a deal. I help you with the paint, and then we can talk about guns.
Oh. I think Periwinkle is not entirely picking up what you're laying down here, Rick Miller, but nevertheless, he is intrigued, and he says, I do probably need to get this off of me as soon as possible. If only it was as easy as just casting off my toga. Unfortunately, it's not. It's going to require a lot of well,
hands
labor, rubbing, strokes on the skin to get all the paint off. there's a water closet right over the hall, and he leads you out.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a condition marked by Periwinkle Underwood.
Such is life.
Such is life. Lord Grey, what's going on with the Abernathys?
I
this
have some ideas.
Yeah, do tell.
I want to angle this little hookup in a way that I can use Taketh Away.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
Do you have Take It Away?
Oh, I do. I got it last time as an advance.
Very good, very good. I love it. So giveth lets you make somebody a worshiper, taketh away lets you destroy a side character, physically, spiritually, or socially, in order to get some benefit. So what's gonna happen?
I'm gonna have to probably not. I'm not gonna kill him. I'm not gonna kill him. Let's start there. Because that would just cause us problems, probably. But if I can angle spiritually, as in degrading them in a way that is maybe not socially acceptable in front of other people, before I do an information move.
I love it.
If
Let's
that
read the
makes-
moves so people know what
yeah.
we're doing.
Yes.
When you destroy a side character, physically, spiritually, or socially, describe how it makes you feel, then scar your reflection. You roll vitality. You then get some different advantages, which we'll talk about. Why don't we go ahead and take our first break, though? Since we went a little long, we'll take a slightly longer break if that's okay. We'll take about 10 minutes, and
Sounds
then we'll
good.
come back, do maybe 1 or 2 more scenes, and then head into the dusk phase.
By the way, when we come back, we're going to talk about how the giveaway that we're going to be doing live is going to work. One of the things will be, but hold on to do it, is sharing the stream on social media. That could be retweeting our Go Live tweet, any number of things when we come back. But we'll talk about that when we return in just a few minutes to keep on playing The Between. And we are back playing the Between here on Plus One EXP. We still have a few more scenes left in our day phase, but we are going to be doing some live giveaways. I meant to ask Jason, hey, here's how I want to do this, and confirm in advance how we were going to do this. I didn't do that before we went live again. But Jason, if someone wins the giveaway, what are they going to get? You want to talk a little bit about what our giveaways are tonight?
Yes, and of course I don't have them handy. Hold on. Ugh.
Another thing I could have queued Jason up for, but did not before we came back.
So we are giving away a copy of both Brindlewood Bay and Nephews in Peril. If you win, you get them. Brindlewood Bay is my game about elderly women in a town in New England solving murder mysteries and fighting dark occult forces at the same time. It is Cthulhu She Wrote. That's what we like to say at Brindlewood Bay HQ. And Nephews in Peril is a supplement for that game that has 30 more mysteries and a bunch of setting material for the town of Brindlewood Bay. It's a really fun game. People seem to like it. I love it. And it's the game that The Between is based on, but it's also based on The Between. The two were developed at the same time, and they have a lot of the same. They kind of share a lot of design ideas.
And one day I'll fill out my pledge manager for.
That's all on you, bud.
I'll have to reach out directly to the publisher about it.
Talk to Harold about it. Harold gets sorted out. But,
with that said, some of you also might be thinking, what if I already have these two great books? If you already have these two great books, we will give you a gift card to the Plus One EXP store instead. So even if you already have them, you'll always be able to win, whether it's this or any other giveaway that we will do, and we'll make sure that you get something cool from us. And so with that said, what we are going to do right now is what we would like you to do. And here's the thing: if you don't have these things and you don't know what these games are, and you're like, I have no idea what's happening, you're still going to be able to do this. I want you to write into chat if you want to enter into this, and you can do it on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching. I want you to type in your favorite clue from either The Between or Brindlewood Bay. And you might be thinking, but if I don't know what the games are, how would I do that? Here's the great news. Type in what you think would make a great clue to give out to people. And the likelihood is that no one will know you just made it up because there's so many great clues and there are so many great ways to work them in to adventures. So a clue that you could stumble upon maybe in one of these threats that we're looking at, or one of the mysteries in Brindlewood Bay. If you have a favorite, toss it into the chat. If you want to make up a favorite, toss it into the chat. Even if you have memorized every single clue, you can still make one up. But that is what we're going to do. I am going to, once we have a bunch of clues populated, type it in. Do me a favor, write in clue and then what it is, because I'm going to go through and kind of count through those, and we will figure out a winner before the end. So you have from now until the end of the stream to type in your clue. If you are on camera right now, you can enter also too. That is fine. But we might pick a second winner. Like Ben's like immediately.
I've got
so type
thousands
in your
of
favorite
these
clue,
books, so
and
don't worry about it. It's all good.
We will work that out. Cool. With that said, Jason, I'm going to hand things back over to you.
Fantastic. Also, we can ship those books anywhere in the world. So if you want us to ship them to someone as well, or if you're somewhere that's not the United States, we can.
Even Australia, mate.
Even Australia, we can ship everywhere, bub. We got warehouses all over now. That's what I've been working on for ages.
That's
Right,
free
so-
market, baby. Let's go.
Okay, so let's get back to it. Just a little bit more for this phase, and then we'll wrap up and go to dusk phase. And I think maybe we should try answering a question about the Limehouse Lurker too.
Yeah.
Thoughts. I owe you a clue. Let's get your clue. Oh, for Dr. Aspectum, Cremorne Gardens. This is something you found while you were looking around, or you were just talking to people in the banqueting hall, right?
Yeah, and I think we definitely have seen me open up a sketch, like a small sketchbook, and we watch me flip past a very detailed picture of the lime of what I saw in the basement, large eyes and other stuff like that. And we see me diagramming out different parts of people's descriptions of this fish man.
So I'm going to tell you that is going nowhere. You are talking to people. They're all saying like they're all saying like it's all just like hysteria and nonsense. Some things sound like they might be interesting. Other people just sound like they're just pulling your leg,
Oh, yeah.
or they're just trying to like, or they're just excited about all this, and so they just want to be involved, right?
Oh no, there's just multiple sketches going at this point. I'm gonna
Yeah.
get it all in there.
But the one thing that does stick out to you while you're doing all of this, you find on the ground, just kind of laying there, no one has noticed it, a very large, flawless pearl about the size of like your knuckle bone, really big. And at first it could be just like a piece of costume jewelry maybe, or maybe it's like some decoration or something. But no, it's the real deal. You could probably live for a few months off this thing, and it's just here. And that's your clue. Do you take it?
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll remember that you have it. Lord Grey. I'm really curious about this move you're doing, Lord Grey.
Yes.
What is your plan to destroy? Is it going to be Cyrus, or is it going to be Portia?
I think it's Portia. I think
Okay.
she's the one I've spoken to most. Cyrus is just kind of like, he's there. He's like,
Yeah.
they both waved me over, but like,
Yeah. So
you
what's your
know.
plan? What are you going to actually do?
So the idea is to actually hook up with them to some degree. And then I want to tear them down emotionally and spiritually.
Wow. Okay. How so? Should we have the scene?
We can. I have
Yeah.
I have some mean things to say.
So it's like a pillow talk thing then, right?
Yes.
Okay. I think the two of you have ended up. The action has moved on to the Louis XIV room, which is decorated in like
love it.
sort of Rococo, wingback chairs and velvet and lots of lots of porcelain and gold framed mirrors and all that kind of stuff, right? And she's laying on a on a chaise longue, and Cyrus is gone, and she's just got her hand like kind of up in her palm, her shoulder, her elbow on the chair, and she says, or she's kind of propped up on her elbow. She says, "Well, that was rather enlightening, Lord Grey."
I'm sure. You really do think you understand truth, huh?
I feel like I've seen the truth of you, and well, let's just say I like what I've seen.
And I don't think I'm very far from her, but I do get on the Chase Lounge and I like get up in her grill and like kind of grab her by the hair a little bit. It's like it's not it could be misread as sexy because this is certainly not the first time I did this, but you have not seen truth or beauty. You're just playing at being gods in your little townhouse, and it won't save you. Your flesh is going to rot off of your frame. It already is, no matter how much makeup you put on it. And I want you to understand something. This was a privilege, not a right. And I know you think you're in charge here. You're not. I am. Because you're insignificant. You will be forgotten no matter how many pictures you take. That's the truth. And he lets go of her hair.
I love it. Go ahead and ouch. Go ahead and roll with we'll scar your reflection. And then roll
Oh gosh, yeah.
vitality. Then roll with vitality.
All right. Oh, good. It looks like someone already scar my reflection for me?
No,
Or
you
have I
had
got
two
it
You had
twice?
2 marks before. You
Oh,
have
I thought I
3
had 2
now.
more. Okay, I've got 3 now. I
No.
can't count. Listen, I'm not here to count. I am here to roll dice. Um,
+1.
+1. Let's see. Vitality. That is a 6. I don't think I got anything from doing that move. I think I
Wow.
was just mean for no reason.
Well, you got to miss, which means I'm going to do a reaction. But let's read the rest of the move. Make sure there's nothing I'm missing here.
No, I don't think
No.
there is.
We'll come back to this in a moment. We'll see what this looks like in a bit. Rick Miller, are you? So is it your intention to pump Periwinkle for information here, or?
I mean, while I'm in this situation, I guess I would love for like we have this like muffled noise from the Louis room in like this intimate bathing in the
You
like
two
in
are in a
this
closet.
watershed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
symbolically in the closet, you know.
Yeah. There's that too. Yeah. So what do you? So after you're done, you're having your own much more intimate, much more little thing. I think he actually steps away for a moment, and when he comes back, he's changed costumes again.
Mhm.
When he comes back this time, he's dressed like a wood nymph, or a kind of little fairy creature. He's got like prosthetic ears, and he's got a little like kind of bow and arrow sash thing, and he says, "Oh, that was incredible. Is that what all Americans are like?"
I mean, I don't mean to make a generalization to anybody, but I'll take the compliment on behalf of America. Um,
Oh, yeah, good.
then you, I guess, Midsummer is
He says,
that what you're going for?
"Oh, I just wanted to be comfortable."
That's comfortable. Oh, well, I'm not gonna. Hmm.
Well, I guess I better get back to work. I am supposed to be taking care of the house.
Well, then I won't hold you. If I ever wanted to make rounds again, do I need to come through the front door, or is there another way?
Oh. I mean, I can certainly show you the back door if you want.
I'd
It's not hard to
appreciate it.
find, though.
I mean, as long as that's an easier way in. To see you, of course.
Do you always have my permission?
We'll touch and go. How about that?
And he leaves the water closet, and he says, "I never asked. What are you and your friend even here doing? You don't seem to have much interest in photography."
I'm just here so he doesn't destroy anything. He's a little reckless. Um, and like I said, he's the photography one. I'm
Oh,
just security. Yeah.
oh. Well, I don't blame him for bringing you along. There's a lot of weird things that go on in this house, to be quite honest. Have you been to the
Oh,
astral
really?
plane room yet?
No, I haven't. What do you mean by
Oh,
weird? Like
make the
cameras
information
moving?
move.
Oh,
Make the information move. I'm gonna give it to you with vitality, actually.
okay.
Um, I'm gonna put you at disadvantage though because I'm marked by Periwinkle. I think you're not.
Okay.
You're a little distracted, probably.
All right. Well, that is a 7.
Hmm. We'll come back to that in a moment. Langfisk. Greco. The second-sided boy. He lowers the lights. He blows out a couple of the candles so that there's just a little halo of light around his eyes. And then even that dims a little to be just the jewel on his head. And you can almost like feel yourself being drawn into this jewel, this purple jewel. And then that purple gets replaced with azure blue, the ocean, a person drowning, sinking, unclear, but they are reaching up. And Greco says to you, I don't know the meaning of this, but this is what it wants you to see. This is what whoever is communicating with me right now wants you to see. That's your clue, this image of a person drowning in the ocean. But it keeps going. You realize at a certain point, Langfisk, that Greco is not speaking to you with his mouth or voice anymore. He's speaking inside your mind. He says, every woman in my family has this same talent, has the ability to reach inside and look around, to watch, to take in your figurative hand and turn left and turn right and see what can be found there. And indeed, as he's saying this, you can almost feel him, his words in your head. They feel like they're opening up doors in your mind and looking inside. He says, but I can do something the women in my family can't do, Mr. Langfisk. I can reach inside the door and I can take what I see. And as he says this, you can actually feel memories draining out, going black, going dark. I'm going to give you a condition. It's called the hidden spaces. This is a special condition. As long as you have the hidden spaces, you cannot use your mask of the past. And then he comes out of the trance and says, now then, did you get everything you wanted, Mr. Langfisk, out of this transaction? I know I certainly did.
Mate, you don't know what you just did for me.
I live to serve. Now put your
I'm gonna have to
quid in the bucket.
Gonna flip 2 into the bucket and say, might have to keep you on the payroll.
And he leans back, enveloped in darkness. And I think that'll be your day phase. Nox, you got your clue. I think we're good with you for now. Lord Grey and Rick, let's do some follow-up. Lord Grey. Okay, so Lord Grey. Portia Abernathy reaches into like the throat of her dress, her toga, and she pulls out Theodora's sapphire. And she says, "Oh, Lord Grey, you don't really think your words can hurt me, do you?" And here the jewel provides some sort of glamour because she is now the Theodora that you know, laying on the chaise. And she says, "Lord Grey, I'm not really here. Mrs. Abernathy will be back with you shortly. But I am watching. I am always watching, Lord Grey. I can't take my eyes off you." How are you feeling right now, Lord Grey?
Bad, but that's not a condition.
I want the night move from you. What do you think is going to... I know it's daytime, but the circumstances call for nighttime, a night phase, or night move. What do you afraid is going to happen right now if you lose your nerve?
I'm afraid that, I mean, the long-term fear is that this woman can be anywhere and anyone, even people I trust. And that's deeply unmooring.
It's worse than that. You're just imagining all this. Theodora's in your head. Hard. I want you to roll with... I think it's going to be sensitivity at disadvantage.
Okay. 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 That's a 6, baby.
Not great.
Mm-mm.
Take a third condition. Your third condition is going to be, she's in my head.
You know, I was real tempted to be like, let's mark a mask of one of the thing. No, this is too good. This is too good.
I could make it double. Or I could make it bad. I've been making all the conditions bad lately.
All right, lay it on me. Don't go easy on me, man.
I think furthermore, your sapphire condition is extra problematic.
Good Christ, what does that even mean?
And then you realize then that you're actually looking at Portia Abernathy, and she's just reached into her shirt to pull out just like a little locket that she's kind of just touching like a nervous tick. And she says, "Oh, Lord Grey, you're very dramatic. Very, very dramatic. That was great fun. Thank you." And she gets up and she says, "We must have a session soon. A proper session. Photography needs you, Lord Grey."
Of course, I think I need something. Maybe photography. If you'll excuse me, darling, and he's gone. He doesn't even finish his sentence. He's fucking gone. He's out. He's gonna go find Rick.
Well, so Rick, remind me, you had rolled information move with Periwinkle. What'd you get on the roll?
I got a 7.
A 7. Okay, so I owe you a clue. Let me take a look real quick. So he had mentioned that there were weird things going on. That feels like an understatement at this point. But he says there were weird things going on. And he did make a note about the astral plane room.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, well, there's a door. There's a door in the astral plane room. It's a room, it's filled with all kinds of strange, surreal objects and paintings. But there's a door that's painted on the wall. It's very, very beautifully rendered. The artist did a spectacular job. I mean, you should see the line work. It's incredible. Even the little hinges are very, very convincing, despite the fact that it's been rendered in paint. I would love to be able to paint like that someday. The door, I saw it open. It physically opened. I thought I was imagining it. I thought maybe it was the the substances that we partake in from time to time talking, but no, 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 no. Everyone else could see it too. This painted door was opening. And it was the same night that Ms. Levy went missing. Oh, I've said too much.
So you're not thinking that she may have walked through the painted door, or
I don't know. I didn't see that. I couldn't say for sure, but well, don't tell the Abernethys I said anything, please.
my lips are sealed.
Or Lord Grey.
Of course.
Right. Good. Okay. So he leans in. What are you doing tonight?
Well, you might be reading my mind. I was thinking that maybe we could see the door in the proper twilight.
What? No, I was going to see if you wanted to go see a show or something.
Oh, well, excuse me. I guess you weren't reading my mind. I put too much faith in you. And there's a wry smile at that. What show did you have in mind?
Oh well, I prefer comedies, but maybe we could go see something at the Grand Guignol. Wah!
Just straight face. Like,
It's
why the fuck did you do
it's
that?
like blood and it's murder blood shows. It's great.
Yeah, no, I think I'll take a comedy.
Good, great, wonderful. Well then, maybe we could take a cab up together. I'll be here.
Then I guess I'll be here. What time are you feeling particular?
He gives you the details and stuff,
Mhm.
and yeah. So yeah, you got a hot date.
With periwinkle,
With
a hot
periwinkle
color.
Underwood. I know. That feels like a good wrap for the phase. I don't know if there's anything else we need to do. Let's take a look at the dusk. Okay. I gotta do the quickening. And Rick, because you have hidden moons, you must roll double disadvantage. I'm so sorry.
What?
So sorry, Rick.
Oh, God. I have to do this again.
Again, Rick. It's very sad, I know.
Oh, no. Okay. Oh, gosh. I'm trying to remember what the role was. It was either, okay, composure or sensitivity.
I think it's your choice of composure or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's my composure. And it's double.
Roll 4. Take the 2 lowest.
Yeah, I got 4 in my hand. Oh, goodness. Oh, I don't see where the 4th one went. Oh, there it is. That is that's a 4.
Okay, a 4.
Frick! Jason, what the frick? What the frick?
I told y'all I'm playing the vessel next. I gotta get a whole new costume.
Make your decision about whether Rick is wolfing out for good or if you're going to put on the Janus mask. And let's keep going. Are the Resurrectionists doing any work tonight, Knox? Oh, you're muted, Tony.
The Resurrectionist will be going out to do some work tonight.
Fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. Let's pick the grave.
I love the Resurrectionists, by the way. They're so fun to play.
Oh yeah. The grave robbers will dig up corpses that night. During the dawn phase, acquire a body part for the child.
Love that.
And then you'll face no blowback or complications from any criminal activities the grave robbers may
Very
get
good.
up to that night.
Fantastic. So you got your body part coming. We love that. Let's keep going. Let's talk about Hargrave House. All right. So we've previously done the library, the music room, and the trophy room. Now let's go to... Let's go to I know this this feels like really thematically appropriate. Let's do the servants' quarters today. The servants' quarters says, everyone, these rooms are mostly empty nowadays, as given the place's history, very few people want to actually work at Hargrave House in that sort of capacity. They have most frequently been used as a place for trysts between the house's residents. What here reminds us of that?
There's a pair of the oldest under things. They have gathered dust. They have been in that corner for what might possibly be decades. They are moth eaten. They are termite trodden. They're a third thing and just old and disgusting.
Oh, Julius.
There are there's like a couple of windows over in a corner. That's like a reading nook area for the servants, but it's not that great. And there are permanent hand smudges on the windows.
I think someone left behind, like on one of the many hooks in the servants' quarter area, someone left behind some very soft ropes. Just definitely not functional ones. And they might be a little old, but they've gotten some use.
There's an old set of fragrant oils and lubricants that have been worn down with age, and you can kind of see the different lines in which they have been like stopped and set for a while, then started being used again, marking the jar.
That was definitely some Selkie that did that. I'm just going to throw that out there. All right. So, fantastic. Okay, let's keep going. All right. The next part of the phase is, we did paint the scene. Oh, okay. Well, normally I would ask you, what do you want to do tonight? But I think we should actually answer a question first. If we want to do that, now is the time to do it. You don't have to, but you do have 7 clues on the Limehouse Lurker on a 4 complexity question. You don't have to use all those clues, obviously, but you do have a fair number there. You can even maybe have a go at the Creature of Cremorne Gardens question, too, because you got 4 clues there. So, anyway, does anyone have any thoughts on that?
I definitely want to answer one about the Limehouse Lurker.
Do you have a thought if it's young or old?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Let me pop over to the clue list real quick, rather than me just, saying what I think.
Free associating.
Freestyling.
Yeah.
It's like skeet shooting.
Y'all figure it out later.
Throw stuff out and we try
So
to
here
see.
it is, guys.
Exactly. We'll see. Just darts.
It drank an herbal liqueur and nothing. You don't do that unless you're old. So we've got a handful of candy clutched in the hand of a dead sailor. We've got Roman charcoal etchings on the wall, a bundle of gardenias. Those were her favorite. Bible in the rafters with the story of Noah and the flood turn out. The vampire can influence large groups of children. The third thing in a series of 3 is always missing, and a stream of blood moves in a spiral. What's the complexity on this one?
4.
4.
If you get it wrong, the other is the right answer. So
correct. I think that it is that the Knox very much believes that the vampire is old. And there's a few things that he'll note that are not particularly clues, like the hunting patterns, the taking down of things at the ankles. Like he has a complex scientific case. Yeah. Do what?
It's skilled, right?
Yeah, the level of skill and intent that you wouldn't see with young. Also, there's a long explanation about the different gestation lengths between like prepubescent and pubescent states that takes a long time while he's talking at one point in time. Um, but clue wise,
Everyone's like doing this motion. Like,
yeah,
come on.
great. There's diagrams.
Yeah, Lord Grey falls asleep.
Yeah. But I think the Roman charcoal etchings on the wall, the Bibles, in the rafter with the story of Noah and the flood torn out. Um, I I even I even want to propose that the handful of candy and the dead sailor, that he proposed, this is a hunting method. This is a way of convincing prey that they are young,
That they're a kid. Yeah.
behaving young and coming in. Like, this is another part of that tactical method that this is actually the creature's candy. Like, when I gave it back, it took it willingly so that it could lure again. That's 3 that were easy. Anybody else have any thoughts for what else could go in there?
Wait, so we
I
got
would like to make
so
a
we're saying-
counter argument.
Oh,
Well, can you just say again why the charcoal etchings in the Bible support the old theory?
oh,
Just because they're old
I think the
stories? Or-
age, these things are things that it has memories
remembers.
of. Yeah, that it's that this is.
It was at the flood.
Yeah, that it was at the flood, that it was at the Roman, like it lived in Roman times. But yeah, go ahead, Ben.
So I kind of picked the same clues, but I was going to say young for just being childish things. The third thing missing in a series of 3 could just be because 3 is his favorite number or can only count to 3. The influence of children, that's his own age, his own kind. Like, that's your peerage. And even Vampire not as a kid, one kid can make other kids do things. The rafters, or with the Bible, Noah the flood torn out, vampires not being able to cross large swathes of water can make that its least favorite story in the Bible, or having to
I love that.
Hayden just tear it out.
That would speak to an old vampire, though, wouldn't it? Though, because a young vampire probably hadn't figured all that out yet, right? I mean,
Fair.
I would think,
Yeah.
yeah. But I see where you're going with
Yeah.
it, though. It could have been his
Like-
favorite Bible story as a kid, though, and he just doesn't care about the rest of it. So he just
I
took the
love
one he
this
liked
Yeah, that's
one.
most.
also fair. And then the handful of candy on the dead sailor was like trying to offer the kid candy or something to
Yeah.
like soothe it. Or,
I think you both make a strong case. I think it's going to be on Wes and B to get in here.
I've got a third alternative answer. What if the vampire was middle-aged and going through a midlife crisis?
That's not an option, I'm afraid.
I'm the wrong person to ask because I'm like, every single time I've done the Limehouse Lurker, it's always, everybody's been like, isn't it fucked up that it's a kid? It's a kid and everything. And I'm like, yeah. But I'm like, I like leaning towards old, but also I'll let B. My vote will go toward Lord Bastion Gray.
God.
He will be the decider.
How dare you?
I'll say that as the keeper, not that it matters, but I like old mostly because most of the time when I run this, people go young, but
Okay.
for variety's sake. But anyway,
Then let's do
what
it
do
for
you think?
variety's sake. I'm going to do that because I hate making decisions despite the fact that I have chosen to place the character with a factotum.
So we're going old. All right, old it is. I think you make. I think a strong case can be made for either, and
Extremely strong.
yeah, no, I get it. Like,
I didn't want to make
you
this
might be right,
decision.
Vin. We'll see how the dice go.
Yeah.
All right, so I mean,
That's what I was thinking.
we got
Someone's
3
right here.
clues.
I mean,
so do you want to work any other clues in here?
yeah, I mean, so I will say also, just from a player standpoint, like, I really like influencing children. Third thing in the series, missing stream of blood that moves in a spiral. Those things all feel like very next step clues. Gardenia's is the one that I would potentially try to work in. Like, that shows a level of, like, these were her favorite. Like, there's obviously an emotional attachment to something. If we had more of a sense of what that was,
There's a familiar.
I would
maybe?
make Vin's argument there though, and say that could have been like his mom,
a mom or something else. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a clear fit for
no,
that
there's not.
one.
Yeah,
And so
It could have been a familiar, like the vampires, like a
yeah.
familiar that gardenias were her favorite.
yeah,
Maybe that's why this vampire's lashing out now at this point, because a familiar has passed. or
like
something.
something else.
they lost their
was-
thrall.
Yeah.
What does chat think? Chat, we think it's young or old? I'm curious. Not that it's going to be binding. I'm just curious what they think.
Chat, make the decision for us.
Levi makes a good point. The kid does have a mechanical advantage, but everybody is saying old.
There's a lot of old going on there. Yeah. Mm.
All right.
Okay, so old. Sounds like we're going with old. All right, I just need clues then. So Tony, what do we think here? Since this was originally your idea,
We were doing a handful of canny is a hunting
a
tactic.
hunting tactic. We like that.
And then Roman charcoal etchings on the wall and Bible verse were times that they remember.
He remembers.
Yeah, from them being ancient.
It makes him an old ass vampire. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
That helps me a lot because that means I'm going to make him super powerful when you're ready to fight him. So
Great. I'm super excited to hear that. Awesome. Am I rolling? Who's rolling?
Oh, and then the gardenia is like indicating there was like some lost.
A
luck or
familiar,
something.
yeah, that was lost.
Yeah.
I feel like this
Fantastic.
is a Nox roll, honestly.
It's flat roll.
Cool. I got a 5. I got a 4, and we're at 0, so it's a 9.
9. Okay, so you're correct. You're correct, and you have unlocked the next question, which is, if it is an old vampire, where is the vampire's nest? That's a complexity 4. It allows you to resolve the threat by infiltrating the nest and then destroying it or convincing it to leave London. So basically, you just got to find this thing, essentially. The nest, anyway. Love all that. Okay, so that is a question answered. Great job.
What was
Let's
the
keep going
complexity on that one?
phase. That's going to be 4. Or it's the new one's 4. Okay, so at this point, I always like to say the day belongs to you, but the night belongs to me. Nevertheless, I'm going to ask you what you'd like to do tonight, and we'll see how well it holds up. Lord Grey, what's your thought for tonight?
I think it might depend on whether Rick is a wolf or not. I'm going to be honest.
That's a fair point, actually.
This might change our situation.
Rick Miller, are we losing you right now, or are you putting on the jazz mask?
Yeah, I'm putting on a mask. I'm putting
Okay.
a mask of the past.
We got Rick Miller, no worries. Okay, fantastic. So,
Had to ask. Okay.
with that said, Lord Grey.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna play into my conditions and try to figure out more about this Theodora and her whole steeds, because she is now a threat to me. A sexy threat, but a threat nonetheless.
Sexy rich threat. But
She's a sexy rich threat, but a threat
and she's got
nonetheless.
smarts too. She's
Exactly.
a triple threat.
She's a triple threat,
Yeah.
and it's not going good for me.
Fantastic. She can do it all. There's only one other person who can, Barbara Streisand. So, Langfisk, what do you think for today?
Lord Grey, where am I going?
You're coming with me.
I'm coming with you, exactly.
Yes.
Are you all going to go out to you'll know about her home. She has a manor house out in the country.
Oh, shit.
It would be a little gauche to just show up uninvited, but you could.
Maybe. We'll think about it.
Very good. Knox, what do you think?
I have a pair of feet I'm really looking to do something with. And I didn't get to last night. So Knox is even though I love that it just gives Jason the ability to mess with me. I also have some blood that dripped down that I need to feed to my flesh terrarium also too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're staying home again.
Yep.
Oh, good. I love it. I love when you stay home. Those are my favorite scenes, actually, when you don't go anywhere.
I mean, I will be taking night work on my next advance just so that it's not just me saying
Just hang out
I
at the
stay
house.
home and then us fighting over what happens.
Mr. Miller, what are you gonna do?
I already know the answer, but I would like to ask anyway, possibly make this a little role play and see if old Langley would want to go to a show with me.
Yeah.
With
Okay, let's.
Periwinkle also?
Yeah.
All three of you. Oh my word. What's going on here?
Yeah, I think you can see Langfisk is gathering things for Lord Grey in the handsome cab. And then is also like looking at Lord Grey and saying, "Do you have everything that you need, my lord? Do you need your fan? I can have your personal ruler provided for you, as well as let's see here, mate. Do you need any stationery, letterhead, anything like that?
I'm muted. Thank you. I don't believe so. I think this is going to be a face-to-face conversation.
Very well. Okay. Then
Hey, Langford. Lang.
We'll have this scene when we get to the night phase. I just need to know what you're all doing today. Love all that. Fantastic. Let's keep going here. Janice Mass prompts, if you want to do them now, you can, or you can wait until next session. I've kind of been enjoying like the top of the session Janice Masks. I don't know if you all want to kind of stick with that. I've been kind of enjoying that.
Yeah. I'll actually do my homework and have
Okay.
something else ready.
Sounds good. So let's talk about the unseen then. Tonight's unseen. I kind of want to do the Grand Guignol one since you're not going to the Grand Guignol. There's 2 Grand Guignol ones. No, I'm not. Let's do Brown's Hotel. This is on line 21. It's the second one over. Brown's Hotel, very first option is going to be Wes. The second option is going to be Vyn for the second prompt. The third prompt will be Tony. And the fourth prompt will be B.
This is going to sound weird because I was just thinking this is the first unseen I ever did. It's also the question I got asked last time. You mind tossing me a different one?
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Sure. You can do number 4 then. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
B, you can do number 3. And Tony, you can do 4. I promise there's no like reason why that was just happenstance. Awesome. Okay, so when I think if you all want to take a minute to look at those, why don't we take like a 3-minute break just to give the players a chance to look at the unseen prompts and think about what they're going to be. We'll come back and do a really fast and feral night phase.
Sounds great. And we just had some folks join us. If you were watching, no matter where you are watching, we also are doing a giveaway tonight. So this is a great time to think. If you were going to give out a clue in the Between or in Brindlewood Bay, which is what we're giving away, type your favorite clue to give away in there. And if you're like, I've never read them and I don't know what the clues are, type in a cool clue for a mystery and toss it in the chat with the word clue in front of it. We're going to pick a winner towards the end of our stream. We'll be back in about 3 minutes to keep on playing The Between. And we're back for the night phase here on +1 EXP, where we are ready to hand things over to Jason.
Brown's Hotel. None of the 117 rooms at Brown's Hotel on Albemarle Street are the same, though they each have housed some of the most fashionable people you'll find in London or anywhere. A concierge, Teddy Miller, delights in spying on the clientele of this posh hotel. Wes, Teddy puts his ear up against the door of a wealthy young bachelor. What does he hear that makes him desperately want the life of this young bachelor?
So I tell you, Gloria, this is quite an exquisite time to be alive nowadays. I mean, there's so many newfangled things to try. Sound of a riding crop hitting flesh. Like something like that. Brand new design by myself and some other friends of my own. More opium, dear. You do have quite exquisite lung power on yourself, don't you? Why? Oh no, let's not make that face. Timothy, come here, darling. Yes, you no need to be shy. Oh, you're tickling me, Timothy. Stop it, please. You nasty boy. Bad boy. Bad boy. The sound of a riding crop hitting multiple times.
We also hear each of the residents of Hargrave House on the other side of their doors as they get ready for their adventures tonight. Going around the table, everyone tell me what we hear on the other side of your door.
We hear the trickling sound of liquid as we hear something being poured from one container to another, and then what sounds like scrubbing against flesh for long enough that there's a light concern the flesh would start to get raw from Dr. Aspectum's room as he cleans and prepares himself for the evening's activities.
We hear very heavy labored breathing from Rick's room, like someone just did like a heavy workout or some really long cardio. But it's him keeping himself under control. These extra heavings just to keep everything in. Uh, there might be like some extra sharp teeth that like modulate and undulate back into like canines to actual regular human canines, and just staying calm, reminding him what he's doing tonight. What the fuck is a periwinkle? Just like racing thoughts, but like thoughts that are human and normal and not like a dog.
Langfisk, you don't have to come with me tonight. I do appreciate it, though. You can do whatever you do when I'm not around. I'm sure you have hobbies.
Of course, Lord Grey. Yes, absolutely. Shall I get your slippers ready for you and draw a bath from when you arrive?
I don't know how late I'll be. Don't worry about it tonight, but I do appreciate it.
And then you all hear from your side of your door a small voice. You all hear it at the same time. Hello, hunters of Hargrave House. I hate to disappoint you, but this is not the first time I've tangled with you. I have emptied your halls, emptied your chambers on more than one occasion. I even have the ability to walk those halls, to walk into those chambers. It is a permission that was granted to me many, many years ago. Oh, Hargrave House. I so want to taste this new blood. Then, Teddy rummages through the personal effects of an actress staying at the hotel while she is out. What does he find that makes him desire her or desire to be her?
He finds the personal effects of Ashley Crimson, and following her namesake, everything she has are these deep, bold shades of red. Everything from dresses, under things, rings, rubies, and such. And just touching them feels not depraved in a perverted sense, but this is way above my pay grade. This is my paycheck. This is my life. I would never be able to afford such things if not being in this room being um, advantageous.
You all hear the smashing of glass from all around the house. Indeed, Langfisk and Lord Bastion, the windows in your room blow open as a trio of vampires, big adult ones, fly into the room, teeth bared, hissing, snarling, and leaping. Langfisk, what do you do?
I immediately do the pushback move to Lord Grey, and then I pull that bone-handled knife, and I toss it up, and I catch it, and then I flip it over, and then I get ready for melee.
I love it. You get advantage when you're defending Lord Grey, if I remember correctly.
Absolutely.
That's the employer, right? Yep, you do. Rolls are made with advantage in direct defense of Lord Grey, so that's fantastic. And this is going to be vitality. Night move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
One of my wings are going to get clipped. I'm going to get I'm going one of my arms are going to get broken, or we're like badly damaged.
It's worse than that. It's going to get removed from your body, and then they will attack Lord Grey while one of them licks the stump. Please go ahead and roll with vitality at advantage.
That is a 6 and a 5 plus 1. That is a
Ooh,
12.
Very nice. I'll give you a clue as well. Lord Grey, it sounds like you're not having to fight your own battles here, but I am curious what you're doing.
I do think that he grabs like a letter opener, like
Mhm.
like one of those like little. It's a cute little bejeweled one, but it is the same one that he tried to stab the throat of the woman with. But he I think he makes sure that the door behind them is unbarred and open so they can get the fuck out.
If need be. Rick Miller. Rick Miller, a vampire, smashes in through your window as well. They all have the right of way. And this one is a woman. She is wearing a sort of diaphanous gossamer gown, very Bride of Dracula kind of situation, flaming red hair. And she says, "No, no, no, just stay right there." And then she opens her mouth, and you can feel your blood being drawn forth from your tear ducts, your nose, your mouth, your ears. Blood is just dribbling out directly into her mouth. What do you do?
Okay, I would like to make a little argument here. Uh, Now, thanks to chat. I love you, chat. I have a belt buckle with a secret compartment.
Uh-huh.
Can I have holy water in that
You
compartment,
sure
being a good
can.
Christian
Absolutely.
man?
Yes, you can. Absolutely. I love it. This is gonna be the night move, though. What are you afraid is gonna happen if you fail to defend yourself here?
I'm afraid I'm gonna be a chew toy,
It's
and
not
not the
looking
sexy
great, is it?
kind.
Yeah, it's not looking great, is it? I
Oh,
love it though. If you want to go ahead and mark that and roll, well, I have to say how it's worse. I think the way it'd be worse is that you will be a chew toy. That's pretty bad. Um, it's worse than that. You'll wolf out immediately.
okay, yeah.
And so go ahead and roll with, I suppose it's vitality.
All right,
Maybe reason for quick thinking, but I'll give you vitality with
all right.
advantage.
With
If you mark
advantage?
that item. If you mark the item, yeah.
Yes, I do. All right. That is a solid 10.
Nice. You're all getting good rolls at least. Knox, were you up in your bell tower while this started?
It's a good question. Um,
Let's say you weren't.
yeah, I'm gonna say I think it's more interesting if I'm not.
You
Um,
hear calling down from the tall staircase going up to the bell tower. Dr. Spectum, I'm waiting for you up here.
I shake my hands dry and walk confidently towards the bell tower with, I think for Knox, what passes for wild excitement in my eyes.
I love it. B. Teddy draws a hot bath for a pair of good looking young men staying in the same room. In what ways does Teddy help bring the erotic subtext of this scene to the fore?
I think there's a few ways. He takes his time. He draws the gossamer curtains closed. He lights candles. And there's this fragrant oil that he pours into the bath and he gets slippers out. It's this long, drawn out thing. And I don't think the young men even mind. I think they recognize it for what it is and watch him with interest.
Langfest, please describe how you dispatch these vampires.
Yeah, I think we see Langfist go, oh, that's just bloody rude. I just had that thing fixed, mates. And goes up and still has the knife in hand, but it's kind of held downwards. Rabbit punches a couple of times the first one, ducks, bobs, weaves, and then does like a 1, 2, 3 combo. Sees it's not doing anything, tries to stab it. It doesn't work. Gets thrown around the room, grabs Lord Grey's riding crop and says, "You're being a really bad boy." And you hear a thwack against flesh, and then thwack, 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 and then puts it in the vamp's mouth and pushes up against the wall. Then stab, 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 does a lot of other stuff to it, just mutilates this vampire and turns and is half covered in blood and looks at the other two and goes, "Well, who's next?" And they both attack at the same time. And I think we don't really see much of anything as the camera goes outside of the room, but you can just hear like they're bumping around. There are dressers being knocked over. There are screeches. And then there is a flash as ash covers the ground as one gets beheaded by Langfisk and then looks at the other one and immediately just grabs it by the head, twists and pulls, and then drops it, and then looks around, shakes
Well,
the dust off a little bit.
while that's all going on, Lord Grey, one of the vampires on the other side of the door has their face down by the gap at the bottom of the door, and they're talking to you. Lord Grey, Lord Grey, open the door, Lord Grey. Open the door, Lord Grey, so I can get a little taste of you. You smell incredible, Lord Grey. I very, very much want to taste your blood, Lord Grey. Open the door, please. What do you do?
Oh, you're going to have to try harder than that.
I
And
want
I,
the
s-
night. I want the night move just to
yes,
keep your nerve.
absolutely,
What are you phrasing happen if you
absolutely.
don't?
I'm afraid it's going to like break in the door, and then for sure suck my blood.
Yeah, okay, great. I'm not sure it's much worse than that, except that maybe Langfisk will have to then deal with that vampire as well.
Yeah. Oh no.
Do go ahead and roll with. It's definitely going to be composure and taking a look at your character real quick. Um, do we think what do you have? Sapphire, she's in my head, roughed up.
Can I argue for something that would give me disadvantage but let me roll with vitality?
I
But do continue.
no, I mean I think it's gonna be composure, but I think because if she's in my head, I'm gonna make you roll at disadvantage
yeah.
because I feel like you're a little rattled right now, right? Like everyone's kind of
sure.
getting to you right now.
So sure.
Roll at disadvantage.
All right. I was gonna try to stab it under the door, but I do like this as well. Right, we're rolling with disadvantage. It's already bad. All right, that was a 7.
Okay. You'll keep it together. You might as well bump it up because I'm going to give you a condition. So you might as well just bump it to a 10 because you've already got 3. So.
All right, yeah, we'll just mark a mask.
Rick Miller, please go ahead and describe how you destroy this vampire.
He just flings that holy water directly into her mouth, and I hope like the vial pops like a capsule, that you swallow like a regular pill, and just rots her from the inside out. So once it hits the stomach and the acid dissolves, just like starts to dust and mist and crumble in on herself, and then.
I love it. Dr. Spectum, when you get up to the top of the tower, the creature is still talking to you, this time from inside your lab. This is very interesting work you're doing, Dr. Spectum. I would love to know more. Come inside. Tell me all about it. What do you do?
We see his like step quicken as he makes the last few movements to the top of the stairs to come into the lab. Looks around briefly before realizing that he's not. There is no way that this magnificent creature will let me see it before it is ready. So I make my way over to the flesh terrarium growing in the corner, and I say, I really appreciate the gift that you've given me as I take the blood that had pooled in my hand before the sample that's been curing there and pour it into the flesh terrarium to feed the growth that's inside there. You said the work is interesting. Have you seen anything like it in your time?
You still haven't seen the creature. It's presumably in the rafters somewhere. That's where it likes to hang out. All of the candles and lanterns go out, plunging the space into darkness. Dr. Spectum, I can think of a way that you can thank me.
What is it?
Just stay right there. And you feel a small, tiny, ice cold hand touching the artery in your neck, which throbs. And with that, Tony, young Teddy returns to his tiny, dingy flat in East London What do we see in Teddy's apartment that shows how he tries to incorporate bits of glamour into his dull, gray life?
We see a chipped bone handle brush that he combs through his hair at the end of the day, um, and a uh, and a small riding crop secreted away that he puts down next to it onto his dresser. Looks at it lovingly, arranges it a little bit more, pulls off his belt from a long, long day, and starts to disrobe. Comes back with a long silken kind of crimson colored robe with the hotel's initials embroidered in the corner, and just starts combing through the window as the rain kind of beats down and the wind howls against the window frame, shattering it but not quite breaking it. He hums just gently to himself as he brushes his hand across his neck.
I'm going to give Langfist, I'm going to give you a clue because of your excellent role on fighting the vampires. I think I'd like to ask Chat for the clue. Chat, if you want to give a clue that Langfisk stumbles upon in the midst of this abattoir of vampire parts. And I just want to kind of like wrap up the scenes with the three of you who are not Nox by just getting the little breather moment at the end of this. Just what do we see briefly as you're kind of catching your breath after this attack?
Rick just lumbers out of his room, kind of dusty from that blood-sucking bitch, uh, and just starts banging on everybody else's doors to make sure they're okay.
I think Lord Grey is like back against the door, this letter opener held almost like a crucifix, and he's watching Langfisk in this just beautiful splatter of gore and competence, and is just breathing shakily. And as soon as Rick hits the door, he jumps like he got grabbed.
Langfist,
You okay?
vessel.
You're alive? Hello?
Wow. Blundering idiot just knocking into doors after an attack. Very smart. Opens the door. Good thing he didn't kick it down or I would have gutted you right where you stood.
Well, it's nice to see you too, Langfisk. One piece. Great job.
There is still one hunter not accounted for. Dr. Spectum, I'm not going to make you roll dice or anything, but I just want to know, do you let the lurker drink from you? He'll be gentle. No dice roll needed. Oh, Tony, we can't hear you.
That's you just hear Nox barely whisper as the teeth kind of press on the jugular vein. Will I be able to finish my work?
Yes. And you might even learn something about the nature of life and death.
I think there's an obvious moment of bodily softening that the lurker takes as implicit permission.
Indeed. We don't see anything because it's perfectly dark. We just hear the and I'm going to give you a condition, the nature of life and death. And that concludes the night phase. What a night phase that was. Go to dawn. Okay. Let's answer Dawn questions. Everyone gets credit for the first question, which is, did you answer a capital Q question? Yes, you did. So everyone gets credit for that. Echoes in the night. I was hearing loads of echoes in the night. I just give me a thumbs up if you got one. Yeah, I know. I remember seeing them. I know Tony got one there at the end.
I just spilled
s-
wine all over my stuff.
Oh no, that was that's your blood from the lurker. So everybody gets credit for that one. Rick Miller, did you stick out? Did you stick out in London society for all the wrong reasons?
Technically, I turned down an invitation to meet the Abernathys to bathe Periwinkle.
Hmm.
But would that be scandal enough? That didn't
That feels
necessarily.
like the Abernathy's jam. I don't know if they
Okay.
would like, be offended
Darn.
by
Is that also because you also said keep in mind that the previous session also counts.
previous session too. That's true. Oh yeah, and I think your encounter with Theodora definitely would have counted for the last time. So you can take that one. Did you encourage a fellow hunter to let loose for a change?
I was going to, but we didn't have time to make that scene happen.
Fair enough. So you got 3 XP. Not too bad still. Langfisk, did you have a scene showing your secret private life in London?
Yeah,
Coffee
a
shop?
little bit of
Betting
betting, a
shop?
little bit of
Yeah.
sports gambling.
Absolutely. Did you demonstrate obsequious behavior towards your employer in front of others?
Not this time.
I wouldn't say it's not
Almost.
obsequious, no.
Yeah.
Nicholas Noxa Spectum, did you where are we at? Did you dismiss the possibility of a supernatural explanation despite everything you've
A
experienced?
couple of times still.
This would truly put you in Dana Scully territory at this point. I mean, hard Dana Scully territory.
The sketching at the sketching and the diagramming of spatial realities. It was like, this is obviously. I mean, obviously there's something here, but it's just a weird fish creature.
Did you secretly engage in romantic or emotional behavior at odds with your aloof, logical exterior? I would say letting the vampire bite you.
Oh, at the end, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. The undeniable Mr. Lord Grey, did you express a clear preference for the beautiful over the mundane? Yes, I remember you doing that. Yeah.
With Rick.
Yeah. And did you let someone touch you and then make them pay a price for doing so?
I tried.
You didn't do it though.
I
You
tried terribly, but didn't quite get it.
Not quite. Fantastic. Let's keep going. Mark new questions if you wish. The mother will owe a body part narration when we get back next time. And as well, we'll have Janice Mass prompts at the top of the session next time. And so that just leaves us at stars and wishes. Stars are things that you enjoyed about the session. Wishes are things you hope to see next week. I'm going to kick off by saying I was so happy that we had Vyn fully for this session because it was very, very fun role playing with you, Vyn. I was really glad we got the full Rick Miller experience today. So there were great scenes. It was a lot of fun to bounce back and forth with. I particularly enjoyed the Periwinkle and Rick Miller moments. Those were pretty good. Loads of stars though. It was a really fun session. I star for making an old vampire or deciding it was an old vampire instead of a young one because I knew an old one was going to attack the house, especially if you got mid-result on the answer, and you did. So I really love that. It was fun to do. Really love the little speech that Lord Grey gave to Portia Abernathy. And I really, really dig Langfisk's all the various like backstory narrations and stuff we got from Langfisk, especially in the beginning at least. Really curious as a wish to see. I'm really curious to see what you do with that problematic condition that doesn't let you mark the mask of the past because Greco has seized your memories. I'm really curious about that. I also really enjoyed all the flashback stuff with Langfisk as well. That was really, really cool in the beginning. And I really like how you're playing this character, Tony. You're really, really leaning into the like, I am a man of science building a body in the attic, right? like there's no like you are doing the thing, and I think that's really great. It feels good to have a character who's like, yes, vampires, but I got to build my body, right? I'm super into that. Yeah, it was a great time overall.
B, do you want to go next?
You know I do. because I do it every time. It's hard to like not do stars in the middle of it because everybody's so fabulous, and this was delicious. This was so fun. Oh my gosh. Like, Jason, I love that you go hard with complications and threats and every condition. Like, the higher the stakes, it's more fun. Like, you make me not want to mark masks because the conditions are so fun, and that is a really delicious aspect of this game that you are really leaning into, and it's super 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 fun. And oh my gosh, Vyn, I love Rick. Rick is hilarious. It's Thank you so much for wanting to do a vulnerable scene with me. It's always such a joy to get to role play with you, and this was very entertaining. And I really love your whole thing with Periwinkle. That was so good. That was so good. You have so much Riz. Why is Rick got so much Riz? It's like ridiculous. It's it's just that American je ne sais quoi. I really love it. I really love it. And I love getting to see Langfisk in a completely different environment in this betting house. That was so good. And I have to say, particular 2 stars that were really particular moments that you did, Wes. One, the fact that the clue was eating the paper, and what Langfisk, what are you up to? And also your response to the Oracle boy of saying you don't know what you just did for me as like it was a favor. Oh, that's delicious. That's so
I have a star
delicious.
for that too because I was definitely trying to like do my Jason Cordova keeper thing where I'm like getting into your head and fucking with your character, and then you were just like, thanks, like, oh yeah, that was good,
Oh, that was
perfect counter move.
It was so good. It was so good. Like, it makes me even more curious about what the hell Langfisk has going on. Like, I know, like, you're a little stinker, but like, I really want to know so bad. And speaking of, what does Nox got going on? Oh my goodness. I have to second Jason. I love the way you play this character. It is so compelling. It is so fascinating. And I'm really kind of obsessed with your relationship with monsters. Like, you're such a man of science. You are like so Dana Scully, like Jason said, but also you've developed like an interpersonal relationship with a vampire, and like that's bananas. Like, we all had to fight them, and you were like, you're having a conversation and being like, well, you can have a snack if you're while you're here, like while you're feeding your flesh terrarium and building your body that compels me. So I'm so fascinated. It's so good. What just stars all around. Wishes, I'm just excited to see what happens next. I'm always excited about it. So Wishes, I want to hear more of everyone's backstories. I want to know what the hell's going on. But I know this will come in time.
I'll take a shot. I'm gonna go across the screen. I usually go the other way this way. Tony, Knox, you typically, when people like do their own thing and go off on their own in like a tabletop, it's usually not as engaging, but your story is so compelling and so interesting. I'm so glad that we have those moments and see Knox do his thing. I never think I would ever say that like in games, but you do it so well. And like your scenes and descriptions are so wonderful and imaginative. Just a million out of 10. Fantastic job. So grateful to be here. The V is for bestie. Uh, I love Green so much, and I love Rick and Great antics because they're both idiots. It is the two Stooges uh, whenever they're up to trouble, and that's what I was hoping for. And even though like the really shitty apology happened, it was still an apology. Hopefully, they get to do more stupid things together. Jason, I love your NPCs. Periwinkle, my sweet boy. I stood him up, and I'm so sorry. That's gonna haunt me. Now I have another apology to make. I'll sing outside his door. Just every NPC you do is so well crafted and fleshed out and like believable as a character, and I just admire everything I've seen of you and like worked with so far, and just big, big ups wherever my heart is. Just fantastic. Um, Wes, you're here. Kidding. You know, I love and adore you. Langfisk, little butt heads right at the end. I hope we get to do more of that. That's my wish. I want Rick and Langfisk to tussle, whether that be words or fisticuffs. I don't know. But anything of his just instantly absorbed in like I love, and the letters, just such a unique framing, and you have inspired me to do my homework for the between and try to be up to snuff. Also, just for everybody, great dust phase, the echoes in the night, which is fantastic, and those are just such great descriptions, and everybody just did so well, just so great.
This group is
And
killing it on Echoes of the Night. Like, I think it helps that you all had some experience with the game coming in, but like, or the system at least. But everyone's like Echoes of the Night were like from the jump really, really good. Yeah.
Chad, just a reminder, if you have any stars that you want to toss out, go ahead and toss them out now. Also, if you haven't had a chance to toss a clue in yet, we are going to pick that winner in just 1 second for a giveaway. Wes, you want to go next?
Yeah, I want to give a big ups to Jason for this like great little night phase. Is like this run that we had. Like we had a full like phase play in one session. It was good. It felt very fulfilling, very challenging. I'm playing the Dark Souls of the Between right now. I'm dodge rolling my ass off. But it's a great time. We're having a fantastic time. Then I honestly don't know what you're going to do with Rick, and it's terrifying. And like this is a place that I don't like being in as a GM, where I'm like, what is Vyn Vox going to do? Because like I don't know. You are so willing to like just hand your character over at any moment, and so like any moment can be that you are playing with fucking matches. Like goddamn, get rid of that moon. Like feller, what you doing with that moon for? It's hiding anyway. What you need it for? Get it out of there. Get it. Like go. Get gone. B. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff tonight. Everything that Lord Bastion Gray needs to be problematic, effete, like a certain joie de vivre that makes old people approach you at bars. It reminds me of me when I was in college. You know, it's everything that an undeniable needs to be. So fantastic stuff. And I hope Taketh Away goes better next time, because you have the undeniable 1-2 combo, giveth and taketh away, and oof, you can change the landscape of a game real quick if you are very liberal with those moves. Tony, what the fuck's going on with this guy? What is going on with Nogs, man? Like, is he okay? I know he's not.
We're all finding out at the same time. I don't.
Yeah. Like, God, poor guy. What a guy, but poor guy. Can we help him out? Maybe. I hope so. Please. But no. And also, yeah, sparkles for me. Like, my masks are great, and I'm like, I will give these away too to anybody in the audience. Once I get done writing these things down, I will send them out to you. I will sign them. I'll put cologne on them. I'll tie a ribbon around them. I'll send them to you directly. If you start bringing your homies around to this game, and we start getting some viewership numbers up, start getting some follower numbers up. Come on. I've got to be impressed. I'm an expensive
We're gonna set a new follower goal per stream, and if we hit it, you will send out one of your stolen echoes of the past to a watcher.
Absolutely.
Awesome. We have picked a winner. I'm going to read their actual clue, because the one that the random number generator picked was their clue: a pile of dishes in an unusual space. But it was Call Me Billy, who also said one of their favorite all-time clues was revealed in Nephew's Imperial. The bodies of some seniors on the tour are locked in their sleeping compartments. If you open the doors, you notice a single coin glance slightly from their open mouths. They're still breathing, was the clue that Billy listed actually further up.
That?
But the one the random number generator picked was when we were negging my child in the chat at one point in time. And so I had an absolute blast. I do want to shout out. It was Jason. You kind of mentioned it. But like it is really fun to see like you're going hard, and every single time you go hard, this group's like, yeah, but could you hit me harder? Is the question that we all universally seem to be coming back with. And so I do love seeing the way that everybody is leaning into it. Double disadvantage, stolen memories. I won't do a vulnerable move next time because I love all three of these horrible conditions you've given me. It's just all so good. Yeah, I've said it before, and I think it was the first time we played the Between that I really felt this way, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I feel like in Between characters, I as a player, I'm oftentimes just following behind what my character is doing, and I'm making intentional choices. But I am really surprised when we get to certain points also too what's going to happen. And the Between does it like no other game that I've ever played. B, we've been talking about it in chat all the entire time, but the silent movie star responses, like we owe you more of a response than you often get for what you give us also too. So great. But yeah, that that destroy me Lordy scene and then the bad roll afterwards was so good. I loved getting to see, like I think everybody else mentioned it, Rick's personality come out really strongly this time. And the whole scene between Jason and Wes with the medium, like that whole scene was so
Oh, it was
good.
fun. Yeah, it was really
and
fun.
so exciting. I loved the entire thing. I love what we're getting to do. I also give a start a chat for some just great clues that they tossed out there, their engagement tonight. But then also this is my child made this, and this is an ongoing accumulation of all the different body parts that we have accumulated so far. So there's some ribs and a heart in there. This will continue to
Yay.
grow. So the other day I literally had to text my child, I need you to draw the arms of a woman who was taken before her time, the heart of an exsanguinated sailor, a rib cage and torso grown in a flesh terrarium, and the feet of a male sex worker. And this is my 14-year-old who did an amazing job, and I'm super excited to keep on building the body out as we go. And it's got weird little sciencey like specimen pins
Oh
and
my
a
God, I
custom
love
made
it.
little tank. So I'll post some
That's so cool.
close up pictures later. But yeah, this is the child by my child. Is that everybody?
That's so cool. Chat had a little note that we need to pick a clue for the thing that Langfisk found in the pile of vampire bodies, and I think that's it. I had one more. Oh, there was a star that Amanda threw out in the chat that I also wanted a star, which was Rick's line of "I accept that compliment on behalf of America." That was so good. I lost it. Really good. But no, I think I'm good otherwise.
Cool. Awesome. Billy, if you reach out to me via Discord also too, we'll get the information from you, find out what you want, and get you all squared away and taken care of. Just a reminder, over the course of the next week, and we'll have a graphic up about this tomorrow. We mentioned it last week. We're going to be asking people to identify their favorite moment from the first 3 episodes of our series of The Between and share them on social media. Tag us and Gauntlet RPG. So that's at +1EXP and at Gauntlet RPG. In order to get entered, you can do it on any social media platform for us. Tag the Gauntlet, I think, on Twitter is really where y'all live. But if you tag us anywhere, we're going to pick another giveaway also, too. You can clip it. You can just describe it. Just make sure you link out to help people find and discover it so we can also send out some of West's locked away memories by getting that follower count up. We've got a lot of great things coming up over the next little bit. This weekend we're playing The Lost Bay by Ico with a couple of great folks here on Saturday afternoon. We've got some other different streams coming up over the next little bit. If you want to help support us, go check out at +1EXP. If you want to find the game that we're playing because you don't have it yet, go to ttrpg.link/thebetween game. Jason, if people don't have a copy of The Between and didn't win tonight, what's the best place for them to pick that up?
A copy of The Between or Brindlewood Bay?
That's what I meant. Yes, Brindlewood Bay.
Okay. Brindlewood Bay, if you go to brindlewoodbay.com, there are links to purchase it either in digital or in physical form. So
awesome. And join us next Thursday evening as we continue our actual play of The Between. Bye, everybody.